Thanks for taking a look at the video here. The reason I'm doing this little video is to welcome you to my website, Become Spiritually Awake. Part of the purpose that I had for creating this was to be able to share without judgment what the steps might be for different people for becoming more spiritually awake. And that can take anything from astrology to organized religion to pagan rituals and everything in between. My belief is that we're all one, and it's not a belief, a blind belief if you will, but rather a knowingness that I have within myself through experience that we are all one. Now some people might disagree, some might agree, and the way I like to explain it, the analogy, and there's many levels to this of course, but we're all human beings, for the sake of argument, let's say, and we all wear clothes of some kind. Some people wear a three-piece suit to go to work, some people wear sandals and shorts, and we're all somewhere in that. What we identify with determines to some degree how we see the world, whether it's through a polo shirt like I'm wearing, or a three-piece suit like I used to wear, or some people wear now, or through a sarong and loose blouse like some people wear. However, beyond that, we're all men or women, or we're all spirit, or we're all aliens, whatever. And the only thing that changes is our perspective about it, and how we integrate an ever-broadening perspective into our sense of what the world, and in turn of what we are. I know I have changed over time, and as I do that, there's a lot more accessible to me. And I think we're all that way. As we become more aware of things, and as we use different tools to become more in touch with our inner self, the outer world, whether it's through religion or spirituality or meditation or astrology or numerology, whatever. They're all different paths to the same thing. An analogy that I have used many times with people is, if you envision a 100-story building with a balcony on each story, and you have 100 people standing on each balcony, their perception, their view of the landscape will change as they are in a different floor. The reality of the landscape does not change one little bit. It's just their perception of it changes. And in this particular endeavor, if you will, a spiritual awareness, that is the reality of it. The spiritual awareness that is all of us, that is oneness, doesn't change. Our perception of it changes. And there's many things that different people advocate to get in touch with that reality, if you will. Now, a lot of people make the assumption that reality is cut and dry, and other ones say that reality is what you make it. And there's truth to both of those things, in the sense that what we perceive to be reality is our reality. Doesn't mean that it's the same for everybody else. That's where a lot of the issues come in. When a person, whether it's you or me, see reality from a perspective, and we try to get everybody else to toe that line to become part of our reality, that's where the friction and the problems come in. I have done many different things, and in doing that, I've come to realize that my reality changes as my perspective changes. So if I change what I'm looking at, then that affects what I see. And if you look at science, there is different tools that can measure different things. Light, energy, mass, all of that. That has not changed. The tools to access it have changed. But reality, as you know, as defined by science, has not changed. The measurement and the ability to see it has changed. Even in Columbus' day, when they thought the earth was flat, and everybody believed that, didn't mean that the earth was flat, it just meant that their belief was that the earth was flat. But the reality that the earth was round didn't change. The same way that the reality that now scientists are beginning to realize that there's many dimensions compressed in the same spot has not changed. The ability to measure it has changed. And spirituality and all the tools that are out there are also the same thing. So my hope is that we will all become more open, and in becoming more open within ourselves, we become more open to what's out there. And that the tools that I offer within my website and other places will help all of us become more aware and more tolerant and ultimately more blissful. Because really that's the whole point of this, is not to become a better disciple or a better guru or a better yoga instructor or a better guru of yoga, but rather to tap into that universal oneness and love, that it's the reality of what is. There's many ways to do that, and I'm not going to tell you that my way is better than your way, because they're all just different roads to the same place. I know that there is a path after a while that everybody follows. It's not the same path, but it's the same kind of path. There's the elation of getting on the spiritual path, and Spirit in its infinite wisdom always gives us a wonderful experience that we fall in love with. And some people chase that adrenaline rush, if you will. But eventually there comes a point of having to face our own demons, and we all have them. That's why we're here, 3-dimension, to be able to face those things. And then it becomes a lot different than that initial rush of bliss. Then it's the actual hard work to deal with the things that create our world. And as we learn, and we all do eventually, whether it's in this lifetime or the next one or the one after that, it doesn't matter. We all learn it. But as we do that, then we realize that it's not what people do out there to us, but rather how we process that information. And in doing that, we rise from being a victim to being the co-creator of the universe and of our lives. So when you do any step, you are doing an individual step in a well-worn path that ultimately takes us all to the same place. Now, sometimes it seems like torture, sometimes it seems blissful. And that's where the non-judgment and acceptance of ourselves, of others, and our own path creates a quicker realization, or a very slow realization, depending on how we want to go about it. So I am in the process of that, just like the rest of us are. We're all in that path together. There is nobody here that's not in that path. The only difference is whether they're aware they're on that path or they're not aware. But the path, it's in front of all of us. It's like some people that know about oxygen and air say, oh yeah, we all breathe air. And some people say, oh no, there's nothing here, it's all invisible, there is no air. Well, that could be an argument for the ages, but the fact is we're all breathing air anyways. And that's kind of a simple way of looking at this spirituality. Some of us are more conscious of the steps we take, and some of us are less conscious. And that varies second by second depending on what button is pushed for us in one way or another. It's very easy to go to a meditation center, or when everybody's preparing your meals, and be calm and be eating well, and that's the blissful side of it. The other side is doing that while you're juggling your job, your kids, the fact that your car broke down, and that on top of it there's a snowstorm. So that's of course, the whole thing that we all deal with at different levels, at different speeds, and at different time. And sometimes what might look like for one person looks very different for somebody else. And it's not that it's better than it's worse, it's just different. My goal is to bring all that together within my websites and my messages. Now, I really like spirituality, and I spend a lot of time doing that, but I also like to work from home. And the reason for that is because that way I have the freedom to do whatever I want. So within that, there is things that I sell or things that I market that have been helpful to me, whether it's meditation music or astral projection or meditation techniques or different things. And they can vary from electronically involved to things that you can do at home, to exercise programs, whatever. I used to work in a metaphysical bookstore, and they sold all the same stuff. The only difference is the person that made the money was the person that owned the store. I'm a firm believer that the government is not going to take care of us anytime soon, and they'll do their utmost to take everything that we have to pay for stupid wars that I personally do not believe in. So I try to market things directly so that I and the people that work with me in that can make money. Now, some people think that in spirituality money is a bad thing. Well, the reality is that we all need money. The only difference is whether you're working for Monsanto or some drug company selling products that harm people, or if you're affiliated with products that help people to become more unified and more aware within themselves without doing damage to something else. I believe in the positive aspects of things. I have no interest in fighting against anything, but rather bringing information that helps all of us to become more aware. And we all have a choice about everything. We can meditate, or we can cuss at the news, We can be calmer by listening to nice music, or we can blunt our feelings by drinking or drugs. We can do our own therapy through having lavender baths and listening to very calming music and meditate, or we can do what people call retail therapy by going shopping at Walmart or Sears or whatever. So we all have a choice about that, and it's a choice that changes moment to moment as we are adjusting our lives. Because as we grow within, then the choices we make change. Sometimes very slowly, sometimes very quickly. Sometimes through our conscious effort, sometimes through our unconscious that manifests as things that happen to us. They're not really happening to us. We are creating that either through our own way of thinking or through our lack of thinking, of conscious thinking. But we are creating that. So the more conscious we become in our process of becoming part of the world, the easier it is to change, because then we create consciously rather than unconsciously. So that is my hope and my wish, and my reason for creating all of this is to bring that to people, just like other people have brought it to me, throughout my life, and have it be a place where all of us can exchange information on what has worked better, what has worked less, what seemed to be a better way to go and a different way to go, whatever. So I hope that you enjoy my short video, and that it helps you on your path to becoming more aware of yourself, more aware of the world, and more aware that you are part of everything, even as you're an individual. So thank you for listening. And namaste, my friends.